You're listening to Aviation Marketing Hangar Flying, the community for the best sales and marketing professionals in the aviation industry. You can't learn to fly just from a book. You learn from other pilots who know the tools, the skills, and the territory. Your hosts, John and Paula Williams, are your sales and marketing test pilots. They take the risks for you and share strategies, relevant examples, hacks, and how-tos. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes so you won't miss a thing.
Welcome to Aviation Marketing Hangar Flying, episode number 54, Managing Marketing Costs. So I'm Paula Williams.
I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is
to help you ladies and gents out there sell more marketing, to sell more products and services in the aviation world.
Absolutely. To use marketing to sell more products and services
exactly, right.
In the aviation world. Right, exactly. Okay, so you will probably have questions and comments and other kinds of things about this episode. You can use the hashtag AvGeekMarketing so that we can find those more easily, and we will reply to every tweet or Facebook update or anything else, as long as you have that hashtag on there. That makes it easier for us to find. Or you can just reply on our website, reply to any of our emails, or just give us a call, either way. So we're always happy to hear from you guys, because you are what this is about, right? Okay, so the problem. A lot of folks run into, in fact, almost everybody, runs into some ups and downs in their budget, their cash flow, their situation as we go through days, weeks, months, and years. And that can be minimized by good planning, but just about everybody will run into a snag every now and then where they need to make some adjustments to their marketing situation. Right, John?
For the cash flow version, yes.
And John actually manages our cash flow and does a fantastic job of moving around dollars and numbers on a spreadsheet to make things work. And sometimes we have to be a little resourceful with the way that we make things work. Like every other company, we want to grow in a way that's smart. But if we buy a printer or something along those lines, or make a major investment, it does have an impact on how much money we can spend on other things. So in an ideal world, we would have a marketing budget that is completely inviolate and never gets touched. But who lives in an ideal world, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So what we don't want to have happen is to throw the plan out the window, right?
Yep.
So if you throw the plan out the window, then you end up doing what we call random acts of marketing, which is basically either not marketing at all until you run out of customers, and then doing something desperate like spending too much money on a magazine ad that may not hit the right demographics, or doing all short-term marketing activities like we talked about in a previous podcast, and not having any of our medium and long-term marketing objectives being met, and then we're just kicking the can down the road. I know our government did a heck of a job with this as far as budgets and running out of money and then kicking the can down the road. We don't want to be like that, right? We want to be a little more responsible, which is not hard to do.
No, we can't print our own money, so therefore.
Yeah, we can't print our own money and just solve the problem that way. Or I guess it's illegal to do that in this country, printing your own money.
Except for the government.
Exactly. So we don't want to succumb to random acts of marketing. We want to make sure that we are doing things that aren't going to hurt us in the long term as we respond to the short term cash crisis or whatever we've got going on, looming on our horizon, right? Okay, so marketing, as are most things, are kind of a balance between time and money. So if we have more money and less time, we can always outsource bits and pieces. We can do automated things. We can do a lot of things that are really effective by getting other people to do stuff, or mechanizing things or automating things and things like that. If we don't have a lot of time, if we don't have a lot of money, then we spend more time doing these things, and we do a lot of individual things, making individual connections and things like that. We spend more time on sales activities. We spend more time doing things by hand. So almost everything that we do in marketing, there's an equivalent that we can do less expensively by hand, maybe less efficiently by hand. But it's a time versus money equation. So lower cost marketing activities almost always involve spending time rather than money. So some examples of that would be like social media interaction with specific people. So maybe we can't buy an ad on social media like we want to, but what we need to do is go hunt and peck. What are our top 10 most wanted companies that we want to do business with? Can we go find the people that work there? Can we make connections with the people that work there? Can we pick up the phone and call those people? Can we send them a letter, a very customized letter? Can we send them an email? Can we connect with them on social media? And we can do that kind of research when we've got time, but no money. Mm-hmm. And, these are not ineffective things. LinkedIn is probably the best way to do this. You can look for the company that you want to do business with and see who you're connected with there, ask for introductions to the right person, and then we never want to do a cold call, so we always put cold in quotation marks, right? A cold call, meaning the first time they've ever heard from us, but it's not cold in the sense that we don't know anything about them, because we've done a lot of research and we've spent a lot of time before we make that call, right?
And actually, though, research is still a cold call, because unless you have actually reached out and touched them, mm-hmm. It's cold.
Yeah, exactly. It's the first time you talk to that person.
Or communicated with.
Exactly. So you want to use our sales call checklist. You can download that and use that as a means, as you're doing your research, to plan out that call and make sure that it's going to be effective, even if it's the first time that you've talked to this person, making your odds a little bit better. So those are things that cost almost nothing, but can be done to make some sales so that you can afford more marketing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Another thing that you can do is seasonal planning to prevent yourself from getting into a situation where your cash flow is not what you want it to be. A lot of folks, charter companies have events that are a big deal for them. Maybe you're in an area where there's a lot of golf or a particular sport that requires charter, and so those are your busy seasons. And then you can plan around your less busy seasons to even out that cash flow and make sure that you're doing your marketing in a way that makes sense for the seasonal variations in your business. And you can do that with a marketing calendar. Another thing you can do is plan ahead. You can get a lot better rates from magazines and from subscriptions and from consulting and from a lot of other things if you plan things farther in advance, and you don't have to pay for expediting fees or anything else. So if you're always in crisis mode, you end up spending more money than you would otherwise, which is kind of a paradox, right, Sean?
And then you worry more. Stress levels go up.
Yep. And when you're under stress, you make worse decisions. So, all of that ends up to being bad for your budget. And you end up, spending a lot of money on printed materials with a typo because you don't have the time to do proper proofreading, and, content that's not as high quality as it should be because you're not spending the time with the review cycles and things like that. So the more time you can give things, the less money you spend. Once again, it's kind of that balance there between time and money. Okay, so another thing that you can do to mitigate a lot of the cash flow situations is, and this is going to be a little controversial, if you've thought as you're growing your business about hiring more people on staff, that you might want to think, we hire slow and fire fast at ABCI, simply because we want to make sure if we're going to hire someone that we have got it planned out, that we are never going to run into a situation where it's going to put us under stress to have that person on payroll. So if there's any way that we can avoid hiring a person by outsourcing, by automating, by doing other things with the same quality, we absolutely will. So, there's some things that that you have to hire people for. There's things like specialized product knowledge, the long-term commitment to your company, the absolute control over the quality of the product. You've got a fixed salary or a draw against commission. You got a little more flexibility there. You can hire for individual skills and you can hire for individual experience, people that know your business really well. So those are kind of the advantages of having an employee on staff. But the downside of having an employee on staff is that it puts you in a cash flow situation that has a lot less flexibility than if you hire someone like ABCI, where you can do 3-month projects as an example, or if you run into a cash flow situation, we can adjust up or down depending on the nature of the situation. We're not on your payroll. We're not taking up space in your building. And we don't have a fixed cost that we're depending on you for that as our sole source of revenue. And then you also get access to a lot of other software and services that may be outside of the skill set of your own employees. So if you're thinking about the possibility of, do you want somebody on your team versus do you want to just get some work done? Think outside the box or think outside your organization about how you can get that done without making a permanent adjustment to your expenses, right?
Exactly.
There's a lot of hidden costs to hiring an employee.
You think? Yep. And it's actually, if you have turnover, it's going to cost you 6 months' salary if that person, when they leave, just to get somebody back up to that point. And that's if everything works right.
Exactly. It can really have a lot of hidden costs. And then you also have to buy that person a computer, get that person training, do a lot of things that you may not be planning on versus, with a consultant, you have a fixed cost. You get a job done for a certain amount of money.
Yeah, if we sign up for a certain number of dollars and have an issue, you're still out just a certain number of dollars. We're going to get it fixed.
Exactly. The risk is on our side. And also all the training and everything else are on our side in terms of staying up to speed on software and making sure our people have the right equipment and all of that stuff is our problem, not yours. So that's a great way to think about your costs in a way that can give you a lot more flexibility from one month to the next.
We've already got automated marketing automation software in hand. It's working for lots of folks. Mm-hmm. We've got all kinds of things like that we spend lots of dollars a month on.
Exactly. Right. So that's another way that you can manage your ups and downs in your cash flow is to think about outsourcing versus employees. So download our budget spreadsheet. It's at abci1.com/budget. And it's got a lot of stuff in there that can help you plan so that you're not going to run into those peaks and valleys quite so much, or at least you'll be have a good starting place to do your adjusting. John does a lot of adjusting.
Just playing with numbers.
Just playing with numbers. Right, exactly. So you also want to see the podcast on planning a marketing budget. That was episode 51. Diversifying your marketing investments. That's episode 52. That really helps you kind of manage the ups and downs in your pipeline so that you have a fairly steady flow of customers. And that makes a big difference to your cash flow as well. There's always going to be feast or famine. This is aviation after all, right?
Exactly.
We have it a little bit worse than a lot of industries, but we also have it better in some ways. So there's a lot of advantages to being in an industry we love. So we put up with some of the, what do you call it, turbulence?
Ups and downs.
Ups and downs, right.
So, Zig Ziglar once said, go sell more stuff, America needs the business. And it's still true today.
Absolutely. And subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. And please do leave us a rating and let us know what you think, what you'd like to hear more of, less of, and so on.
And we'll see you next time.
Have a great week.
Ciao.
Thanks for joining us for Aviation Marketing Hangar Flying, the best place to learn what really works in sales and marketing in the aviation industry. Remember to subscribe on iTunes and leave a rating.